Welcome back, traveler. My name is Aytaç and this is SITU, Silence in the Universe. Together we listen to the silence and search for the stories it hides. We have explored civilization that burns out too fast, or never ignite at all. We have seen filters and embers and fading lives. But what if some civilization did survive? What if they are talking? And what if we just don't know how to listen? This is the story of Harken and the silence between frequencies. The basement had been empty for years, just pipes, shadows and dust. But today it was alive. Harken crouched beside a tangle of wires, watching a video on his phone titled "How to Install Your First Professional HF Radio." He muttered, "If installation is this hard, how hard is listening going to be?" He is nervous. He was smiling. The equipment wasn't cheap. 3 months of saving, bargaining online for used components, waiting for sales. Friends asked why he didn't just stream space sounds online or join virtual astronomy clubs. It's not the same, he told them, but couldn't quite explain why. Perhaps it was the physicality of it, connecting to space not through algorithms and screens, but through metal and electricity. Perhaps it was the authenticity, hearing the raw, unfiltered cosmos rather than processed audio. Or perhaps it was something deeper, a need to participate, not just observe. His knowledge was patchy. Forms and videos could only teach so much, but his curiosity burned bright. It took hours, then more hours. Fingers cramped from twisting tiny screws, back aching from contortions in tight spaces, mind swinging with technical terms and jargon, impedance matching, propagation conditions, bandpass filters. But eventually, the cables were in place. The antenna stretched high above the roof like a question into the sky. The radio came to life. Miniature LEDs blinked like warm colors, like distant stars blinking back. And the static filled the room. Not noise, music. The hiss of cosmic background radiation, the pop of distant lightning, the murmur of particles streaming from the sun, a symphony of physical process playing out across light years. Harken's lips curled into a grin, part joy, part pride. He sat back in his chair, arms folded behind his head. Outside, the city hummed with human voices. Millions of conversations, broadcasts, streams, calls, a constant chatter of consciousness. Inside, another kind of conversation played out, the universe speaking in waves and particles. He reached for the frequency knob and began to turn, slowly, carefully, across bands where human voices should be, into ranges where satellites transmit, through sections allocated for scientific exploration. But the static didn't change. No patterns emerged from the noise. No rhythm broke through the randomness. Just endless variations of the same cosmic whisper. Harken expected something, anything, a click, a whistle, a voice in the static. Not necessarily words, maybe just a pattern too regular for nature, a sequence of pulses, a repeated melody of tones, anything that would be suggest intention rather than accident. He thought about an alien signal might sound like. Would it be mathematical, binary, musical? Would it announce itself with some universal constant, like the value of P or the ratio of hydrogen atoms? He had read about the wow signal, 72 seconds of unusual radio waves detected in 1977, never repeated, never explained. About fast radio bursts that puzzled astronomers for years. About pulsars initially labeled LGM, Little Green Man, before their natural explanation was found. But the silence remained. He adjusted the antenna, tried a different band, scanned again, nothing, and yet he knew that wasn't true. Because the universe is full of signals, radio waves, pulsars, quasars, bursts of radiation that travel for millions of years. The cosmos never stops transmitting. From the 13.8 billion year old afterglow of the Big Bang to the radio footprint of last night's television broadcasts, space is saturated with information. But those are natural, predictable, catalogued. We know what stars sounds like when they die. We recognize the radio signature of hydrogen. We can identify the electromagnetic fingerprints of every element, every natural process. Harken was listening for something unnatural, something unintentional, a message meant for others, like us, like him. As his eyes adjusted the darkness of his basement, he wondered how many other beings on how many other worlds sat in their own versions of darkened rooms, listening to static and hoping for a voice. We call it SITU, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. For decades, scientists and hobbyists have pointed antennas to the stars, listening for signals not shaped by nature but by thought. Radio telescopes in Puerto Rico, West Virginia, Australia, China, massive dishes straining to hear whispers from the stars. Supercomputers processing petabytes of data, searching for patterns in the noise. Private foundations funding ever more sensitive equipment. Universities dedicating research centers to cosmic listening. And some go further. METI, messaging to extraterrestrial intelligence. Not listening but speaking. Sending math, music, maps, greetings. The erasable message of 1974. 1679 binary digits forming a crude pixel image of human figures. DNA structure, our solar system. The Voyager Golden Records. 115 images, natural sounds, musical selections, spoken greetings in 55 languages. The cosmic call messages of 1999 and 2003. More sophisticated attempts at interstellar communication. But there is a problem. We don't know what channel to use. The electromagnetic spectrum is vast, from long radio waves to short gamma rays, with countless frequencies in between. Which one would an alien civilization choose? Would they use hydrogen line, as many scientists expect, or would they choose something else entirely? We don't know what language to write. Mathematics seems universal, but what notation system would they use? Music might bridge cultures, but would alien ears even detect the same frequencies as ours? Images might communicate across species, but would foreign eyes see patterns the way we do? We don't even know if anyone is still listening. Harken turned through thousands of frequencies. Most were empty. Some held echoes of distant storms, others satellites. One carried a very fragment of numbers, likely earthborn. But none said, "We are here." He kept searching anyway, not because he expected to be the one amateur who discovered alien life while professionals with billion-dollar equipment had failed, but because the act of listening itself felt important. A participation in humanity's greatest question. Even if someone is sending a message right now, it might take 100,000 years to reach us. Radio waves travel at the speed of light, the fastest speed possible in our universe. Yet, the galaxy is so vast that a signal from even a relatively close star system could take decades or centuries to arrive. And if we answered, another 100,000 years of our reply to reach them. Harken sat quietly, the static buzzing in his ears. He imagined a conversation spanning millennia, questions asked by ancestors, answers received by descendants who might not even remember the question. The ultimate exercise in patience and faith. He thought of all the voices that might be out there, lost in the noise. Not because no one was speaking, but because of time itself. What if civilizations are talking, but never at the same time? Like two people visiting the same cafe, but on different days, both leaving notes that will never be read by their intended recipient. Perhaps they broadcast for a century or a millennium, and then, hearing nothing in return, fell silent. Perhaps their civilization rose and fell, while their message was still en route to us. Perhaps they evolved beyond technology that we would recognize. Harken thought about the epochs of Earth's history, the billions of years when there was no one here who could have answered a call from the stars. The possibility that for most of the universe's existence, most planets capable of life might be in similar stages, either lifeless or hosting only simple organisms. Maybe we are too early. Maybe we are too late. Maybe the galaxy has hosted thousands of technological civilizations over the eons, but never more than a few simultaneously. What if the silence isn't silence at all, but missed timing? Maybe what we call the great silence is just the great. Maybe someone out there is listening. Maybe they sent their signal thousands of years ago and we just haven't caught it yet. Or maybe we are the first, the ones who must speak first, shout first, wait longest. This is why Harken listens. This is why SITU exists. Because even in a universe filled with silence, a single signal could change everything. The discovery of just one message, one pattern, one intentional broadcast would transform our understanding of existence. No longer alone in the cosmos, we would suddenly become part of a larger conversation, participants in an interstellar community, even if separated by vast distances and time. Next time we explore the concept of firstborn. What if the silence hides something ancient, so advanced it's invisible? Or worse, what if we are the first? Please consider subscribing, and if you wish, please leave a like and feel free to comment. This is Aytaç, this is SITU, and together we will explore the silence in the universe.